who to tell and who not to tell about your affair, because I think this one is important.
So I guess the first question is, who did you tell?
Who did I tell? The first person I told was my stepmom. And I know, like, looking back, I know why I selected her. I, was privy to the fact that while I didn't know details, she had definitely experienced something similar. Mm-hmm. And I felt like there's no way she could judge me for it. I was nervous that she was going to tell me to stop immediately and to like go repent and grovel to my husband and all of that. And she didn't at all. She just she was like, okay. And I knew I had to tell my dad. And that, like, my dad, I used to call him my mom.
You told your stepmom. What is it that she told you?
She didn't judge me. She was kind of like, okay, like, take a breath. It's going to be all right. She just really wanted to hear my why and like what I was getting out of it. Like all of that, she was like a very good and safe place for me to go to. She also wasn't going to tell me what to do. Like that's one thing that my parents did really well. They led me. They didn't like tell me. They allowed me to make my own mistakes and make my own decisions. But she just told me, because my biggest question to her was like, I don't know how to tell my dad. Like I felt like such a failure. And for it to also be something about me sexually, like when I was a kid, I was afraid of my dad knowing that I had a crush on anybody, And so I think at one point I even had like a 6th grade dance. Really?
No, I'm joking. That's like so old school mentality.
Is that a healthy fear?
No, that's not a good fear.
Yeah, it's not a healthy fear. So she was just very warm and non-judgmental and just like a safe, soft place for me to land.
Mm-hmm. Did she tell you something specifically that like reassured you?
Yeah, she did. When she said, when I told her I didn't know how to tell my dad.
Say that. Why did you cite like...
Because what she said was something I didn't believe. She said was something I didn't believe. She said, you just tell him the truth. You tell him you fell in love. And I was just like, no, but is that the truth? Like that was where I was. I was like, is that the truth? Like I wasn't ready to accept that the experience I had was actually real at that point in time. Like at that state of being, I was like, it was almost like I was waiting for them to like come and slap my hand or something.
Like get a shake out of you.
Like I was really thinking that they were going to berate me and tell me that I was like the, fucking Jezebel. They were going to tell me that I was like Delilah, or like I associated myself with all of the villainized characters who had ever done something so taboo. And she kind of like took the sting away, just with that one little sentence of it, like, okay, like you tell him the truth. You tell him you fell in love. And I was just like, I couldn't believe she said that,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe that she believed that falling in love was a thing. And she was much more open to like this is kind of crazy, Kevin. I can't believe we're having this conversation. She was much more open to like spirituality and stuff. Okay. She was much more open to like emotional like pulls and like sitting in her emotions and like stuff like that. And I never was. Wow. This is crazy.
So she's haunting you basically right now.
Dude, and she always told me that when she gets the chance, she will come back and she will haunt us. And it's funny because I'm like, when I think of haunting, I think, like really weird, creepy shit. Like I think of like stuff moving and like all of that. I don't think of some of the sensations that have like been building within me, where it's like she's coming across, like she would watch medium stuff and I would be like, what's wrong with you? Black magic, man. Get back on the course. Like I was judging her for her interest in stuff, you know? Now I'm over here listening to Gabby Bernstein.
Yeah, that's how life
So
changes.
who to tell and who not to tell? You really it's never a one size fits all though. It's never just tell your parents. Like you have to assess whether that individual is going to be helpful or hurtful to you. We were on a call in the community the other day, and this community member, she had shared a story about how much it stung when everything had ended with her affair partner and they were in a long-term affair, and her best girlfriend had asked her how she was, and this community member had responded honestly to her best friend and said, I'm a little bit crushed, like kind of revealed the hurt that she was carrying. And her friend shot back with, well, what did you expect? And then when you tell somebody something like that and they are hurt, like that just causes them to shut down more.
Yeah. It's like you're building up more walls for you not to talk to them, which is the complete opposite of what
Right.
they currently need. Just like there's a reason why they came
Right.
to
They
you.
need a space where they can open up. Yeah. They definitely need a space where they can open up and let it out, because I think that once you actually give voice, and I know I've said this before, but like once you give voice to your thoughts and feelings, all of a sudden you become less heavy, way less heavy. And so like if you find yourself in a place where people only add to the heaviness, because basically if somebody tells me, what did you expect? They're implying that I'm stupid, and I'm not stupid. So like what? They're just contributing to the lies that exist in the world? Dumb.
By the way, what do you mean
That's
by
stupid.
giving voice to your feelings?
Oh, I think that we always have it. Especially women are really good at not allowing themselves to feel what they feel.
I thought that was a man thing.
Never. Like, no. I'll say they intrinsically feel a certain way. But they will never, ever like feel empowered to actually give voice to it. Like the same community member that I spoke with this week, she still is sitting a little bit in regret of revealing the amount of anger she had inside of her to somebody that she loved. My question is, why couldn't she reveal her anger in front of this person who loves her and she loves that person back? Like that should be a safe place for her to reveal her anger. She's not hurting him. She's not, like she's saying what she's feeling. And then immediately she's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And I'm like, why? You did, like it's okay. Like you can feel that way. A lot of this, like women walk around with these emotions and these thoughts inside of their heads and their heart, and they basically are like, oh, but I'm not supposed to feel that way, so I'm not going to say anything. That's what I mean by giving voice to your thoughts and feelings and not feeling bad about it. Like, yeah, surely I've lost my temper here and there, and it's important that I acknowledge that, like, yes, I lost my temper, but I'm not going to feel bad for having emotions anymore. I'm not going to like deny that I feel strongly, How
did you get to tell your dad?
So she passed the phone to him, and
okay.
She passed the phone to him. I was in China when I decided to do this. Like, I'm definitely an avoidant. Like, I prefer to talk via text, and if I have something like that I am ashamed of, like cheating, I will go on the other side of the world, give you a call and say, hey, life isn't what it looks like right now. So I need to clue you in on some shit that's been going down inside of me, because I can't handle this alone. But whenever my dad took the phone, I told him that I fell in love with somebody else. And then he just started crying. And I was like, oh, God, I am a disappointment.
Oh, wow.
But now I look back and
So
I've never
why
asked
did he
him
cry?
why he cried.
Okay.
I've never asked him. I've never asked him. Maybe I'll ask him. But when I think about why he cried, because my dad is not a communicator of emotions. Kevin, I can't even ask him, how are you right now? Okay. He's in a certain place.
Okay.
He says that me asking him, how are you, is too heavy right now. So I am respecting that. But when he did cry, like my own opinion of like what he was probably thinking and feeling in that moment, which like, yes, I am the child in a home who guesses at my parents' emotions. I think he knew how hard the road ahead for me was going to be. Like, I don't think it was that I was a disappointment. I think it was that he had experienced something similar in his life. And while he never talked to me about it, I'm
Hmm.
sure that had to be one of the heaviest transitions. He, you know, fell in love outside of his marriage. And I'm sure he has a lot more inside of him to like share, but I'm not like privileged to that information because I'm his daughter, you know? So I just take what I can from him. But whenever I think about it, like if my child were to come to me and tell me that they had done this really horrible thing, and I know my child, right? And the way that I expressed myself to my dad wasn't I fucking hate my ex. He has made my life so miserable. There was none of that. It was like, this is a weird word to use on the topic of infidelity, but it was innocent.
Hmm.
It wasn't with malintent. And so since he knew me at my core, right? Like he knows the type of person I am. I think he knew how hard it was going to be on me to wade through the guilt and the shame that I was going to have to wade through. And so he cried, and then he asked me if it was a factory owner.
If he was a factory
Stan
owner.
laughs at that. Yeah, Stan laughs at that to this day. He loves it so much. He loves it so much. And then I think my dad at one point told me, he was like, because then I was like, actually, you've already met this person. It's not like just some like random who like wooed me or anything like that. This is a person that like, because Stan and I were coworkers, okay? And I used to do this thing where if I fell in love with you, and I say that now, I didn't realize that was happening all the time. Like I fall in love with people a little bit every single day. I just don't let it, take over me. And I do this thing whenever I fall in love with people where I want to take them back to the home that I grew up in. I want them to see, I want to share more of myself with them. And one of those ways that I did that for a really long time was, and this was like in my 20s, I would be like, you have to come to my house. You need to meet my family. You need to have watermelon with me in the backyard. Like, I don't know. And so my dad knew Stan. Stan had done some really like special things for our family. Like, so we had created a foundation in honor of my brother's passing. And it's the International Testicular Cancer Foundation, because we realized that there was very little support for people who navigated through that. Like, we didn't know that young men could get cancer the way that Josh did. And so it was really important for me to take people that I loved back to my hometown and see it, because I felt like there was so much matter. Like it mattered. Like my home mattered, my family mattered, my life mattered. And I took Stan home with my ex, and we were just there, and we were just sharing in meals and sharing stories with each other. Like it was very innocent. And so when I told my dad who it was, he just kind of laughed, like Stan had made my family's shoes out of the logo for my brother's foundation. Stan did very thoughtful things for me. Like, the fact that he was just like so interested in my family story was enough to just make me fall head over heels, basically, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him, yes, you know who this person is. And I was so nervous because, like, I come from a very white family. Okay. We got roots and we have these indoctrinated belief systems that have stuck with us for years and years and years. So the fact that I was bringing home we call him the Beijing Bubba. He is Chinese and he grew up in the South. He is a very unique individual. And I was so nervous that they were going to be like, oh, he's not white. Oh, he's not very Christian. Oh, he's not. And then like all of a sudden I realized I was like, these are all the things that I've been placing on myself. All of these things that like I think my parents are going to say, they're not, I don't know what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm thinking, you know? So like all of a sudden my own little world started to open up.
If we go back to the who to tell, who don't.
Who to tell, who not to tell.
Yeah.
If your family is emotionally reactive, like find the people in your life that are not emotionally reactive. I spend a lot of time assessing people. And I think I told you this a while ago, Kevin, like there were years that I went where I didn't say much. I didn't share my opinion. I just wanted to hear other people. I wanted to hear and I wanted to be able to discern what they value by listening to the words that come out of their mouth. It's almost like I could see them more clearly if I just shut my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So what? See people more clearly if I shut my mouth. And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of shut off the assumption part of my brain. So
Mm-hmm.
the emotionally reactive people and honestly, I just got lucky. I got so lucky that my stepmom was who she was. And because I would consider her a little bit more of an emotionally reactive person, but she reserved that because I am her daughter type thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're in an affair and you're trying to discern who to tell, because I think here's one of the problems with the affair. Obviously, the big problem is that it's a secret and there's all these other problems. But one of the biggest problems I see in an affair is if your affair partner is actually abusing you and you're not talking to anybody about it, how would you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are definitely power and control dynamics within an affair that can exist or that do exist, right? Because it's a natural tendency of a relationship. But I think that if your affair partner, if you express to your affair partner that you want to tell somebody and their response to you isn't an emphatic, like, you do you, then I have concern. Because even with Stan and I remember telling him probably for the first time, he actually encouraged me to tell my parents kind of quickly because I wasn't doing well with being without him. I was ready to move to China. Like I told my company that the only way that I was going to stay with them was if they got me a position in China. Like I was very much like Stan is the end all be all to my existence right now. And the company
And by the
was
way,
like,
that didn't
sure,
come
we can
from
do it. We
Stan,
can do it
right?
in 6 months.
That came from you.
What?
Like that
It came
like
from me. Totally.
because you were talking about like
Mhm.
manipulating forces within the relationship. That didn't come from Stan. That came from like the desire for you to be there. I just wanted to make that clear.
Mm-hmm. It really did. It was super strong. And he had said, I told him, I said, I'm just gonna blow this up. And he was like, okay. And, I didn't tell him when I was going to do it because I am not a planner. I'm sure you're aware of this, Kevin. I'm not a very good planner. And so he knew that I wasn't doing well. But he never said, don't tell anybody. Stan never, ever tried to put me inside of a chamber,
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that my dad said to me after the affair that has always stuck with me to this day, because I didn't understand what it meant then, but he was like, whatever you do, don't become a kept woman. And I was like, "A kept woman? Like, housekeeper?" You know? Like, what does
Mhm.
this mean? And now I understand that phrase a lot better. Don't become a kept woman. Don't let somebody else take away your power, you know? Like, you're the one who is in control of your own power. Choose wisely who you give it to.